Listeners everywhere, welcome to the Movie Show with Joel and Ryan, the weekly fix for your screen addiction and a trusted source for discussion of all things film and television. Please keep in mind that for the purposes of this podcast, Joel and Ryan are not acting as journalists, but rather fellow moving picture enthusiasts. All of their opinions should be taken as such. Also, please be warned that while Joel and Ryan may seem like petulant children, they are, in fact, adults who may occasionally use adult language. While they promise to bleep out all the worst words, it's a good bet you will still understand what they were saying. And now, with no further ado, here's Joel and Ryan.
All right, folks. All right, welcome to the Movie Show with Joel and Ryan. I am Joel.
And I'm Ryan.
Okay, we're going to get right to it here. Now, this is a show that we teased a little while back that we were going to do. We didn't plan on doing it this week, but because of scheduling, it just sort of happened where we're like, hey, you want to do this now? And we said, yes, we're going to do this now. So
we're doing it.
Then we're doing it. So this week we are doing 120 Billy Joel songs in 120 minutes. We have a strict timer. We get 1 minute maximum on every song. Hopefully some of these songs won't even take a minute.
Yeah, and if you go over the timer like a politician, that's cool. Just don't be rude about it. It really does mean that you're done.
That's right. All right, so here we go.
But it doesn't mean you have to stop talking just because you heard the buzzer.
Right. You will. Yeah, we have the buzzer, and and we'll just go. And if we're done and we don't hear the buzzer yet, then we'll just reset and we'll keep going. But we are going to start.
If it's 120 Billy Joel songs in about 120 minutes, we truly will have succeeded. That's the idea. And none of this intro stuff counts, you guys. Those of you who are keeping time at home.
Right. Okay. So
we'll work in the whys and wherefores, hopefully into the song descriptions, right?
That's true. Yeah, that is true. We're gonna go chronologically. We're gonna start back in 1971, and then go all the way up until his latest individual release that he wrote for his now divorced second wife. I think
third wife that he wrote that for.
No, he wrote it for Katie. Oh, I guess it would technically be his third wife. Yes, it was third wife. Yes, I keep forgetting about.
When it comes to counting wives, technically is where we want to keep it in that arena, right?
Sure. Yes, you're absolutely
actual
right.
Math.
And I'm guilty of it too. I tend to forget that there was a wife before Christy Brinkley. So
she inspired a lot of that music that we're about to hear.
Yeah,
both good and bad, actually.
Okay, so here we go. We are going to do 120 Billy Joel songs in 120 minutes.
Меня зовут Billy Joel.
Okay, the timer starts now. All right, Cold Spring Harbor, 1971, first track, She's Got Away.
What a great way to start out, right? Just a simple piano love ballad, simple lyric, but it's sort of, even though it wasn't a big hit or anything at the time, it's endured as something of a classic.
Yeah.
Great album starter for his new singer-songwriter sound. I like She's Got Away a lot.
Yep, coming off of Amplifier Fire with Attila, his attempt at a keyboard drum sort of super fusion punk band. This is it's such a sweet song. It absolutely endures. It's great. You will hear it to this day at many weddings, and that's not a bad thing. I don't mean that in any sort of bad way.
No, it's nice. Set the tone for everything that was to come.
All right, well, here we're gonna get to the end of this. I'm just gonna let this timer go so we can all hear what it sounds like. All right, and now here we go. You Can Make Me Free.
Oh, that's what's next.
Yeah, I like You Can Make Me Free. It's
very Paul McCartney-esque. He even does his imitation of him sort of at the end when he's ranting and railing.
Yeah.
Much later in 1982, he perfected this sort of ripping off I Got You era, Abbey Road, Paul McCartney, and that's a much better song, but this one's not so bad. What I don't like on Cold Spring Harbor is his affected vocals, so I don't like the play out of this song very much. And of course, Cold Spring Harbor was released to the world for decades with this high-pitched, everything out of pitch. and so it was really
Yep.
weird to listen to for that reason as well.
Yeah, recorded at a higher speed. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with absolutely everything that you say. Let's go back. We're gonna move on to Everybody Loves You Now.
Much better. Much more in his wheelhouse. The story of this, again, it's very judgy. His songs, when his you songs, which this definitely is, is very like not sympathetic, I guess. I mean, or not as sympathetic as you would expect for these types of songs. Even when he's trying to be on future songs, we'll talk about a couple.
Yeah.
He's failing to be. His judgment comes across, but that's part of the deal. And this evokes this era in sort of Long Island geography, and it's got a great tune and a great piano line. It's got everything you want from a in-between sort of Billy Joel song. I think it also has the name of the title of the album in it, which is always
absolutely
fun to sneak up on.
I will say it's a great track. It's even better live when you hear it and Songs from the Attic. All right, next up is Why Judy Why.
Oh, you'll have to start on this one. I barely remember this song.
Why Judy Why is really...
remember it. I remember the Why Judy Why part, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, this is this is another one where it's kind of a you song, but it's not. I mean, it's a little judgy, but it's sweet. It's a
little more of a we song, I would say.
And again, it sounds a little bit like this is the start. These next few songs sound a lot alike. These next three songs that we're going to talk about. Why Judy Why, though, is really good. I know he's been doing this live in concert a little bit.
It's
lately,
absent a chorus, which is weird. It's a big bunch of three big long verses that end in the title of the song.
Right.
And that's an interesting style that he doesn't do a lot, but it works on this song, I think.
All right. Next up is Falling of the Rain.
Oh, my God. I really like Falling of the Rain in an unabashed sort of folk kind of way. You know what I mean? It's a piano ballad like everything on this album. This is straight up piano singer-songwriter stuff, but Falling of the Rain really does have that sort of folk cred in that those are the images that it evokes. It has nature right in the title. So I like it a lot better than Why Judy Why anyway.
Well, absolutely. It's a better song. It is like textbook sort of piano folk song. The lyrics are, they're trying to be evocative, trying to do that, and it succeeds. It's just, it seems sort of like, now you listen to it and you're like, well, it seems a little bit formulaic, but in 1971 this was him trying to figure out what his voice was going to be. So,
and the piano hook after the singing of the title of the song every time is glorious, and you just want to hear it again and again. So I like it.
All right, Turn Around. Turn Around. Why Judy Why, Falling in the Rain, Turn Around. They're kind of all. They clearly feel like this is like I'm staying in this groove, and these are the kinds of songs I'm going to write. And I'm gonna
make this singer-songwriter thing work, because that's what everybody wants. There is some mercenary aspect to this album where, to a lot of his albums and a lot of especially different parts of his albums, this is as good a time to mention that, where you really feel him just fighting through to get to the next thing. And this, to me, that's what this kind of song is. It is same as what we've just heard, but different, just different enough to justify its existence, basically.
I completely agree. You Look So Good to Me. You Look So Good to Me sounds like, to me, it sounds like the opening credits to a sitcom.
Yeah, but I like that. That's a more, I mean, at least at this time in 71, that's it's a more modern sounding song.
Yeah.
It sort of points the way forward to some other things, but it is really happy sounding. It's hard to explain, but we're all going to have a good time sounding.
It's a bouncy little tune, and it does sort of sound like you're going to be like Dick Van Patten, and then he turns to the camera and, oh, you look so good to me. Yeah, so I mean, I don't say sitcom-y completely negatively. It's just it's a bouncy little tune.
Yep.
All right. Next up, Tomorrow Is Today. Tomorrow Is Today is actually one of my all-time favorite songs of his.
Is it?
I love it. I love the lyrics. I love it has a sense of to me this is the song where he's like, I do not like so much of what I have done and who I am, and this I am trying. This to me is him. This is almost like his manifesto.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to do.
This is the big long. This is the big long song. Is it? What are the next two? Hint at me real quick.
Nocturne and Gotta Begin Again.
Oh, okay. So this is the one. So yeah, I really like Tomorrow Is Today too, except again the ending, which I think is really stupid, which is too bad because I genuinely like Tomorrow Is Today. If I'm thinking it's the same song, it's the one with the weird spiritual stuff at the end, right?
Oh yes, it is.
I'm sure gonna lie.
In it. Yep. It is. It is the one with the. Yeah, it is. The
I
one with
really like the song. I really cringe a little bit when I hear that part of it, but again, he's a guy it's an artist finding himself. You got to give him a bit of a pass in spots.
All right, next up is Nocturne, the first instrumental of the list,
and you can see that these piano instrumentals, it goes all the way back to here. It's a very pop instrumental, and yet it has very classical, like Beethoven-esque classical leanings to it. And that appreciation for that sound, it shows itself again and again and again and again, even in the lyric songs, but in all of his instrumentals to some degree. And Nocturne is lovely. It's a really, really pretty song.
Yeah.
It's in a great place on the album too. It's right where it belongs.
Yeah. Billy Joel famously has said that he has never forgiven himself for not being born Beethoven. And that
you hear
striving,
that in these types of pieces. Yeah.
That wanting to be that is, we're going to hear that over the next 30 years. All right. Finally, we have Got to Begin Again, another manifesto song. Where he's here we go. This is what I am now and who I want to be.
He's writing much more honestly here at the end of the album than he was at the beginning of the album. And they don't always end that way. More often they start that way and then peter off as they end. But it's a good time to mention that Billy Joel's albums, it's kind of neat. They tell a story, every one of them. Even with the variety that's in them and all the disparate themes and stuff, because he literally puts all of his albums in order of the way he wrote and recorded the songs. So the first song's always the first song he came to with when he was starting out, and the last song is always where he ended when he was done with the process. And this song feels that way. It feels like the message and the style is all really refined in it, and we'll talk about how that works on different albums, especially his later ones.
Yeah. All right, now we move 2 years later. Piano Man. Travelin' Prayer is the song that kicks off that album.
I love Travelin' Prayer, big high energy opener. It's one of the few songs from this album and the next that has all these slide guitar and Western trappings that his producer was really interested in, that I actually like. I like the banjo when the banjo kicks in at the end of the song. Dueling the piano part. That's really, really neat. And the lyrics are fun. It is what it says it is, Travelin' Prayer, and I super dig that.
It's a great song. Dolly Parton covered it, and her cover of this is really awesome too. And it does. It sort of has that country folky. It sounds like a railroad. Sounds like a railroad song.
And before we get into what's truly iconic, it just shows you immediately how much more sophisticated and how much tighter and better the songwriting and playing and recording is on Piano Man than was on Cold Spring Harbor.
Right. Okay. Well, speaking of, next up is Piano Man, the song that has ended every concert of his for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
It is. This is an absolute story song. Yep. You can look at it from many different perspectives. Does he like the people that are in this bar, or does he hate them? Because this could be a really horrible, condescending song.
I don't think so. I think you can feel that he appreciates what they are, but they're all kind of losers together. That is sort of the thing.
Yeah.
And even him in the story is, you got something, kid, but you're still in here playing this dive with us losers. I like that. Obviously, there's not much to say about Piano Man that not everybody knows, but I think his connection with those people is very, very real. I think that makes the song, in fact, in the end. That's the soul of the thing.
Right. You could say that time as a piano man working in a piano bar, he often says it saved his life because he was really in a horrible place. All right. Next up is Ain't No Crime.
Oh, yeah. Ain't No Crime. There's going to be a few of these where like, what?
Yeah.
Why,
yeah.
Judy? Why? What? What the hell's that song?
Yeah.
Ain't No Crime's good, though, right? Tell me something about that. I don't know.
Well,
I don't remember.
Ain't No Crime. It is. Ain't No Crime sounds like. I'm trying to think of like. There's a song coming up in the. The Entertainer. He talks about how he's got to get a peppy tune in 3 minutes. Ain't No Crime is him. It's him trying to write like it sounds like a attempt at a rock song.
It is a guy who doesn't realize he just wrote the most significant song of his career just
right.
A week ago, and is now trying to get on the radio somehow, and that's really kind of neat, and I dig that.
Yeah. All right. Next up is "You're My Home." Incredibly sweet song.
Oh yeah, I need you in my life because you're my home. It is really poetic, again, in a really, I hate to keep saying it, but in a really like observing the form of the male singers.
Well, yeah.
He gets what that is, and sometimes it lands and it feels like you're hearing the artist's voice, and sometimes it feels like you're hearing a really talented guy do what he thinks everybody else is doing. And to me, that's kind of more what this song is, but it is neat. It's clever the way he turns a phrase. People rip on his lyrics, especially these days now with all this time and evolution in the world has gone by. It's very easy to look back at some of these and rip on them, but it's a very simple poetic love song that works really, really great.
It absolutely is. That you could not have put it better. It's beautiful, beautiful little love song. All right, next up is there we go. The Ballad of Billy the Kid.
Oh yeah, he has these today. Now that he's got 120 songs in his pocket, he has these little regional songs that he breaks out. And every time I've seen him, I've heard "Ballad of Billy the Kid" because he thinks that's what people in the Midwest want to hear.
Right.
He's not exactly right about that, but this is a barrel house song. It's got all these Western Copeland-like trappings in it. It's got a full symphony orchestra on it, which really fills out the sound and stuff and gives it this huge epic feel. And it's a very clever, again, very wordy, very clever lyric that tells the story of Billy the Kid, the traveling outlaw. And it's fun to listen to that. And it's catchy. But when I think about Billy the Kid, what I really think of is that orchestra and how huge it sounds. It's a big song.
It's an Aaron Copland pop song, is what. That's clearly what he's going for, and it's awesome. It's so much fun. It's a great,
really, really
fun
good
song. All right, worst comes to worst.
Another one that's just the lyric cleverness and the patting himself on the back's right in the title.
Yep.
But this is a good song too. This is another one of the countrified tunes, if I'm remembering correctly. But I like Worst Comes to Worst. It's this guy, Billy's working at a really high level on Piano Man. There's about half the songs are absolute stone cold classics. And the other half, like when you remember them, are like, oh, that's really pretty good too. And this isn't one of my favorites, but I don't. Do you really love it? Worst Comes to Worst?
No, Worst Comes to Worst is it's
a come down back into rock and roll from the big grandiosity of Ballad of Billy the Kid, basically.
Yep. Next up is Stop in Nevada.
Stop in Nevada. I outsized like Stop in Nevada because I really think if you have to pick which half that's on, it's probably on the Also Run half. But there are songs of his where the hook is so great
That chorus is so good in Stop in Nevada.
So strong, even though the title is odd and it probably was not going to find its way on the radio. The story of this woman and the feeling of liberation in the song is just, it's outstanding. I love Stop in Nevada, truly, every time it comes on.
Yeah, Stop in Nevada. Yeah, Stop in Nevada is true. Yeah, it is. It's got it. Yeah, it captures a little bit of that epicness in that chorus. He's writing.
You're feeling it. He wants to get the hell out of California. You can feel it in the songs, and in this song, her, even though she's coming his way, the liberation that comes from her leaving is just fantastic. You feel the freedom in it. I love it.
If I only had the words to tell you.
Sounds like anyone could have wrote that song.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is a sad little song.
It is.
Yeah, and it's I'm not gonna lie, I've cripped this song. I've stolen this song. I've played this song at times, and
that's the point of it. This everybody has done this one, and that's not easy to say. It's not like a standard or anything, but it is this sort of tragic, melancholy love song. He's really good at those. They start to go away after a while. After the first divorce, we almost never hear those again, and it is. So we should treasure the ones we have when we have them, I guess.
Right. All right. Somewhere along the line.
Oh, man, I love, again, because the lyrics are so great. Somewhere along the line. It's about actions and consequences, essentially. And it plays out all these little mini fables that play out that demonstrate that. And again, it's just catchy as hell. And so I like Somewhere Along the Line quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, to me, it's one of those. When it comes on, you're like, oh yeah, and then you're listening to it like, damn, that's a good song. That was a good song.
It's pretty good.
And then you kind of move on, and and then you're like,
well, because the things that come next make more of an impression, probably. But that's Somewhere Along the Line. It's really clever. It's not quite as personal as Stop in Nevada, but it's one of my favorites on this album.
Right. All right. Next up is Captain Jack.
God, we could do a whole show on Captain Jack alone. Captain Jack's sad, pathetic, just it's the sadness that makes this song work, because it's about heroin, essentially, and it's about completely losing yourself. But more than about losing yourself in drugs or whatever, and narcotics, it's about the reasons why that happens, and the things that the awful, sad, and just really pathetic things that make you turn to it, and the things you want to escape from. And it paints such a vivid picture of Jimmy Carter never says this, but the malaise of the 70s. When we think of that, I think of the verses to this song, and yet the chorus, and I'm sorry I took all of Captain Jack to myself. The chorus is anthemic and rousing and massive and catchy and just glorious. It's one of his best ever songs, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's him it's that escape. I was just reading, he does not like to play this song because he doesn't feel it's aged well, because there are so many things that are more horrible out there now.
Okay, it's true, but it just still captures a time and a place so well. Yeah. And that's something he was really good at. His stuff isn't timeless, and who would want it to be? It's rock and roll, after all.
All right, I got to steal back a little of those. We stole a little time from the ones we did earlier. All right, now we're going to go to 1974, Street Life Serenade, opening track, Street Life Serenader.
A guy who doesn't want to be in L.A. anymore, and yet so he's doing the opposite. He's doubling down on LA and Mexico and Southern California. Yes. And that's basically what this album is. And Street Life Serenader is one of the better tunes on it. It's the attempt at a Piano Man type sequel. But it's nothing like Piano Man, to its credit. Like, there's, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He really needed another one of those here, and there isn't one. And the album lacks because of it. Yeah. But his attempt to copy the formula again with that with the title track, it is admirable because it is its own thing completely.
Right.
It's not a retread at all, which I like.
All right, next up is Los Angelinos.
Will we call it? It's not really, but it's like the hard rocker of the album.
It's
it's pretty wimpy for a rocker, but this is the rock song on the record basically, and it's appropriate that it be kind of in this spot. And it's but the judgment and the sort of fish out of water feel to it really comes through in this song. So I don't know. I want to say it's hypocritical, but
I mean, it's like so many of this entire album. I mean, there's a couple songs that are we'll get to that I truly love. This one is not one of them. It's just sort of it's like, oh yeah, it's fine. That's fine. Yeah. All right. Next up is The Great Suburban Showdown.
This is cute, but also not great. But this is cute. Great Suburban Showdown is a cute song, and
it's clever.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't have the beating heart in it like some of the other ones, which is kind of the problem.
God, you can almost you can say that about a lot of these. They just don't have. There's just not a lot of. I feel like it's what you said. He's really doubling down on L.A. and he's trying and he's. I'm gonna get there, but nope. I'm dead.
But he's not feeling it, and you can sense that, and so it's weird that he wrote so many Southern California specific tunes, but that's what Street Life Serenader is. There's no piano man here. There's no. He desperately needs to keep things rolling, and he absolutely doesn't manage to do it. Right. And there's a tragedy to Street Life Serenader because of that. And here we are already 3 songs in, and we're already sensing it's doom.
What we will get though is Root Beer Rag.
God, I love Root Beer Rag. Right? Who doesn't love a good rag?
I know Root Beer Rag is awesome. It makes no sense that it's on this on any album. Frankly,
he's writing in a form. He's writing a Scott Joplin version of a song, basically in his own style, and. Naming it Root Beer Rag gets because I love root beer when I was a kid, so I just was gravitated towards the song, and it's melodic piano hooks. It's really, really a melodic pop song with no lyrics, and that is not an easy thing to pull off. I don't think. Right?
No, you're absolutely right. And it also feels like I hate everything. I'm going to write something to cheer me up.
Right.
This is like, this makes me happy playing
and it
this
does.
silly
it
fun
immediately
stuff.
cheers the album up and calms things down a little bit right where it's needed.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next up is Roberta.
It's my favorite song on Street Life Serenader is Roberta. And it's for the same reason I love Stop in Nevada so much. It has this I can't sing every song for you, or we're certainly not playing any, but Roberta it's tough for me. It's tough for you. The piano that rolls and bums and climbs up beneath that is kind of awesome. And his relationship with what I think is, I don't want to judge Roberta, but she's a prostitute, I'm pretty sure.
I believe you are correct.
And, if she's like a nun or something, my apologies, but I really think it feels like she's a prostitute. And their relationship is more than a man and a hooker, and yet it's less than the relationship, and that's where this song lives, in that complicated spot. I think it's pretty lovely, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I have nothing more that I can add on that one. Next up is The Entertainer. I referenced this one earlier. This is all about him and the music industry.
And the stress of it. And even though the song is very tongue-in-cheek and very clever and almost a novelty song in its silliness, and we get some Moog here, which is great. We get some what I call whittly solos. Listen to it, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's about having to make this album and having to get the next hit and having to stay in the public consciousness, and all the stress of following up Piano Man is basically an Entertainer, and it was the lead-off single from this album, and it charted, but it didn't chart nearly as well, and it is this self-fulfilling prophecy of. This album, because Billy Joel and he went on to be a superstar, we don't view it as a letdown or some bad thing. It's just this thing with its own flavor. But it really was a huge letdown, and he's predicting that in this song in a really kind of horrifying way that's also very clever and catchy.
Right, and little did he know he was absolutely getting ripped off by his manager at the time.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
not alone there.
No, he's not.
The ultimate ripoff was yet to come.
Yeah, last of the big time spenders.
That's fun. It's an attempt at a like an old school sort of show tune kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. I like those, so I sort of like this. But again, I don't feel like there's any of him or his heart and soul in this tune. It does feel like, well, I've never done one of these before. So he sits down and kind of figures it out. And I think and the next few albums, which are much better and really are as good as they come for a while, he doesn't have to rely on that, the interest in form so much. He's just able to come from within a little bit better, and this song sort of proves that.
Yeah, you can just take what I said about Great Suburban Showdown and apply it to this song too.
Yeah. Right.
All right, next up is a Weekend song.
Why do you name it Weekend Song? Because I can't hum it to even remember what it is now.
Weekend Song. Oh,
what does he say in Weekend Song?
Yeah, Weekend Song is again. This is kind of an attempt at a rock song. I mean,
we haven't had one for a while, so it's not so bad.
No, and you think about the songs of the early '70s. This is it feels a little bit like an attempt, sort of at not a Billy Joel version of like that Working for the Weekend or The Boys Are Back in Town, so it's sort
none
of
which existed yet, but I get what you're saying.
It's that feel.
It's him looking around at the scenery and the people and the characters around him and sort of telling their story, basically.
Yep.
I get it. Working class anthem.
Thank you. That's exactly right. Working class anthem. All right. Next up is Souvenir.
Oh, I really like Souvenir.
Yep, I love Souvenir.
Souvenir is lovely. That's a runner up for my favorite song on this album, just because it's there's something delicate and lovely about it, and there's nothing. It doesn't have the weight of the rest of this album sort of bearing down on it at all.
This
really
is
lovely.
I've sung this song many times in concerts and stuff. It is sad. It is really contemplative. It is much. It's really it's such a lovely song, and he's really again, he's touching on the sadness of how much he really hates it. It hates what's going on right now, and how everything is fleeting. Should have been the end of this album. It would have been a really wonderful, sad, sort of contemplative ending. But instead, we got the Mexican Connection.
Mexican Connection.
Another instrumental. Again, sort of maybe trying to sound Copeland-y-ish. There's like a Copeland-y section.
Yeah, I would agree. It's the final word on this style of thing, which is so great. The very next song says it right in the title. And it's so great to just leave all this behind. And it's a crappy thing to say about an album that has a lot of little magical moments on it, but it just feels forced and labored, and this no less than any of the rest of it. And he needs to get out of LA and go home and be inspired by his own life and the things around him that he cares about, and that's exactly what he did. And thank God for it.
Perfect encapsulation of Street Life Serenade. Lots of little great moments, but nothing that really adds up to anything. All right, now we're going to move 2 years later. Turnstiles is the album. Say Goodbye to Hollywood.
So long, suckers. Big fat Phil Spector wall of sound, like drums and stuff on this. It's like I said, Stop in Nevada has a sense of liberation to it. This is an explosion of liberation.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I don't know if you know that feeling. We're getting out of Dodge. We're leaving this shit behind. It's fantastic tune. There again, Turnstiles wasn't a more successful album really than Serenader was at all. In fact, matter of fact, it probably would have been in an era like today, third album, it probably would have been the nail in his coffin.
Right.
But the songs are so much better and so much more inspired and so much more personal. And it starts with this one, but just leaving town and heading home. And the love of home comes through on Turnstiles.
Nerdy little thing about his performance in Say Goodbye to Hollywood. He elongates his vibrato in this. And I've always viewed it as it's him relaxing. It's him feeling not having that stress. It's that release. And so his vibrato is longer. I don't know if that was all intentional or I'm probably just completely
whether it is or
it.
isn't. There's a magic to it that is awesome.
And it does it absolutely, and that long vibrato also works in that Phil Spector style. So so I'm sure it's all, there's an intentionality to it. But anyway, moving on. Summer Highland Falls. What a glorious little, what a sweet, amazing little piano tune.
In the annals of his singer-songwriter days, there's definitely Piano Man, and that's tough to top. But this as far as one man and his instrument telling you a tale that means something to him is probably as good as it gets. Summer Highland Falls had a renaissance right around the time he stopped making pop music. He started doing interviews and looking back on stuff. And this is a bit of a lost tune. It wasn't a hit. It didn't get played live a lot because it's not a live arena rock sort of sounding thing at all. But when he went on this little piano library tour where he talked about his work and his life, he played Summer Highland Falls a lot and spoke about it a lot. And you feel that personal connection again, more in this song than all of the songs on the last album.
Yeah, and it's that fine line between sadness and euphoria.
Indeed.
It's absolutely right. All right, next up is All You Want to Do Is Dance.
Joel's favorite, Billy Joel. Hey, okay.
I mean, no, it's
All
fine.
You Want to Do Is Dance is fun. It's a sort of white reggae celebration thing. Everyone was doing that here in 1974 or wherever we are. So it's not surprising, but compared, the quality of every other song on Turnstiles is so great that this one is such a steep drop off from the rest of them that I think we're sometimes unnecessarily hard on it. It's fun, but it is the worst song, like by a lot, by a landslide compared to the rest of these tunes.
Correct. This is one you just you hit the skip button on, or if you're
kind of like,
listening,
that's on here.
Yep, you can let it play while you quick run to the kitchen or run to the bathroom, and then you'll come back just in time for one of his classics, New York State of Mind.
I don't know what to say. He sets out to make, again, this kind of, he's hinted at this before, but this song he sets out to make an American standard worthy of Gershwin. That's ambition. That's really, really great. And I would say that in every way that Billy Joel is capable of, he succeeds at that task with this song. This song is miraculously good compared to, and not just compared to, but compared to anything in its era, compared to any song he'd done before. New York State of Mind is just absolutely outstanding. It's such a good song.
First Billy Joel song I ever played live was this one, New York State of Mind. It is. You're absolutely right. It is attempt to write a standard. This is something that for someone who is so harsh on himself and he judges himself so harshly and often hates what he comes up with, the hubris that he has to attempt to, he's like, well, I'm going to write, I'm going to do a song in the style of Copeland. I'm going to I need to be Beethoven on this one. I need to write, his absolute hubris to attempt this stuff. And then obviously he probably never feels like he gets there, but it ends up with some really, really tremendous songs. It's New York State of Mind. It's great. It's amazing.
Tip top.
Yep. All right. Following that is James.
Poor James. God,
Poor
what
James.
a loser. And the problem with James is that James is, and we went way too long on New York State of Mind, but it's a great, quiet little simple song that comes after a big, ornate, giant song. And it is a you song, and it is super judgy, even though it's trying really hard not to be. I think the problem is that Billy Joel's a big rock star and James is just sort of a loser family man. And I think all of us out here are Jameses. We're not Billy Joel's. And I think I feel that every time I hear the song. I'm like, oh yeah, he's talking about me. Dick.
Yeah.
But it's honest. You can tell that it's coming from an honest place, and that James isn't, whether his real name or not, it is a real person, and that's a real friendship. But I don't know, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
It's a good song,
and it immediately it's kind of a perfect lead into Prelude / Angry Young Man.
The little one key. About as good as that's ever been done in a pop song, in my opinion. The banging on the one key.
Yeah.
Thing, and Angry Young Man's great. It's great. It's got the prelude intro is absolutely fantastic, and the song itself, it doesn't feel angry. It feels like this song really feels like even though he's talking to somebody, it really feels like and to some degree he really relates to this angry young man more than he does to his old school buddy James. Like,
yeah. No, that's why he is the angry young man. There's a place in the world for this angry young man with his working class ties and his radical place. I mean, he's projecting in some ways he wants to be this angry young man.
And he'll go to the grave as an angry old man. It's a very, very awesome lyric and a really catchy tune, and I like it a lot.
Yep. I've loved these days.
This is really a nice tune too. Again, this is a build, especially to the end of the album. This album ends so strong. And its strongest moment is behind us, and it still ends really, really strong. It just shows you that he's really inspired writing these few songs on this album. I've loved these days. He's got a bunch of songs that are like this when he's doing a really good job, where he ends the album. Joel mentioned it once already, a song early, essentially. And that's what's happening here with this one. And then it just turns out, hey, he's got another classic in him, and you get that at the end. You get even more. But this feels like an album closer. And if he didn't always put his albums in creation order, I think it would have been, because it's a much better album closer than what we get. Yeah. Even though the next song, Joel, holy smokes.
Yeah, the next song is Miami 2017, Seen the Lights Go Out on Broadway. Little trip into the future.
And I'm always, and this is what I hold against Ballad of Billy the Kid, is that this is the song I want to hear in concert.
Right.
All the people out east get this song, and we get Ballad of Billy the Kid, and it just feels a little condescending to me that that's how it works. And I've seen him a few times, and it's without fail that his little geography-based set list planning, it always results in this.
I think you might be right. I think the only time I've ever heard this was when I heard this out east.
Gives a shout out to every borough of New York and everything. And it's basically a chance for everybody to cheer, as in the story of the song, their neighborhood gets destroyed in the end of the world. And it's Miami 2017 is such a good song. I can't even tell you. It's so good. It's weird, and I guess it's not an absolute classic, but I think it's an East Coast classic of his.
It's really great. It's big. It's ballsy, and
it's a stunner in concert. Truly,
yeah, it really is. It's so good. All right, now we get to now we're at Billy Joel at the height of his powers. 1977. He doesn't know that
yet, though.
He doesn't know that. The Stranger.
He doesn't know that.
And that first track, Moving Out, Anthony's song.
Yeah, it starts with the sound of the car revving up, right? It always sounds more like a motorcycle to me, but Moving Out, that's what they called it. That's what they named the jukebox musical after. It's another, the neighborhood kids. He's writing about people that from his life. That's what you should be doing. I mean, if you're left with nothing, you should be writing about the things around you and the things you know. And this song's full of people and weird characters that he knows. Anthony for sure. This is Cadillac, yak, 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 yak.
Yep.
For you, those you guys who don't necessarily know that it's named Moving Out, even though he says that at tons of times in it. Fantastic album opener. Fantastic sort of hit single that wasn't.
Right.
But really, really good song. That's among his best.
And he, you know, and he gets to like kind of crip from like Layla and songs like it, where they have the little instrumental play out that sounds tacked
and he
on.
gets to rock a little bit, but in a natural way, the way he's capable of doing it, and that's great too. So.
Yep. And then we get into the titular "The Stranger" with its
Which
little
starts with the whistling, right?
The whistle, yeah.
Stranger's really, really good. Again, we've heard him do this song now a half dozen times up till this point. This is where it really starts to nail it. Just that great lyrical turn of phrase. You've got the intro and the outro, and this very classical sense of writing a pop song that's something more than a pop song. The Stranger's really, really strong. Again, not a hit because not a single at all, but an absolute classic and a peg for this album.
And it's dark. It's got a great darkness to it. Yeah. Which considering the next song, the song that his entire band hated, but it was his biggest song. It will eventually bring him many Grammys. "Just the Way You Are."
Yeah, crazy. Why would they hate this song? Just because it's kind of wussy?
Yeah, it just was like, because I think after Moving Out and The Stranger, it's got this drive, it's got that, and then he's like, and then he gets out the electric, he gets out the soft electric keyboard,
it's a Rhodes electric,
Rhodes,
it's a Rhodes
thank you.
Tour style electric piano he's playing on, which is a great sound. Babe and Just the Two of Us, think of that. Same instrument. He's using it a little differently, but it's the same instrument. It's amazing. And Just the Way You Are, I just wish we could free that from the bonds of it being a loser AM radio staple, because it's such a wonderful 70s ballad, and he continued to write those. So what's wrong with this one? Admittedly, you can't play this on piano the way you play it on a Rhodes. This is almost inspired by the instrument he plays it on. So it is sort of trapped in what you can do with it. But I love it. I love Just the Way You Are. When I was a kid, every time it came on the radio, I was excited to hear it. The lyrics lovely, and the hook is fantastic. It deserved to be his biggest hit to this point, and it absolutely was. Number 3 on the hot Billboard charts.
Yep. And often misplayed. The sheet music transcription got it wrong, so when someone's using the bad
sheet music and not figure. Nice.
Yeah, because it sounds the sheet music is written in and makes it sound much happier and peppier, and there's some incidental notes in there that you got to be paying attention to. All right, epic song that we're going to cover in 60 seconds. Scenes from an Italian restaurant.
So 2 songs that have nothing to do with each other mashed together, neither of which are great. That's my quick review of that one.
Wow. Yeah.
I really think if you take the 2 songs out and make it not a 7-minute song, you have not much of anything here. And I think the only thing special about it is its epicness, which I got to say, that's pulling ideas out of the crapper and making something great out of them. But I'm not a fan of this. I feel like it's like Paradise by the Dashboard Light. I moan when I hear it start to play.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad, but just because, oh, God, we're going to be here for the next forever.
Buckle up. Oh, here comes Brenda and Eddie.
Listen about Brenda and Eddie and their marriage and their divorce. And it's just like, ugh.
And just try to remember what color a bottle of wine you're supposed to be drinking from. That was my struggle anytime I tried
It's weird because this is a classic. People love it, but I'm like, I don't know, Boomer. You tell me what's so great about it. I bet you can't.
All right. A song that is absolutely great and getting lots of love nowadays, Vienna. Yeah, Vienna.
Vienna is much better song. Yeah, really, really good tune.
Yep.
Vienna is a metaphor, but it's also sort of inspired by the real place, and it feels that way. It feels very European, and yet the melancholy in it and the lesson in it have seemed really, really well earned. So I'm glad it's getting love, because Vienna's a great song.
Yeah, it's great. It's another You song. It's slow down, you crazy child. It's that you want everything now. You want to be Mozart right now, but just chill out. You'll
But
get there.
It's the minor song on the great album that makes the album so great, because it's awesome and it's not really one of the ones you think of. So
right. All right, next up is Only the Good Die Young. Do 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 do.
Yeah, I mean it's tough.
Yeah.
When we land on one of these, it's like, what do you even say about it? You guys know Only the Good Die Young. It's brilliant tune.
Yeah, it's that classic, young man. He's a star, and am I going to flame out? Am I going to blah blah blah? If I die right now, people will remember me as this. They'll remember me for my hits right now, and maybe that's the way to go. Maybe I should just disappear and go. Yeah.
But that's what's deep down in the song. I agree. But right on the surface of the song, it's this nostalgic song. Look back at this time when he's dating, and this girl that we all think we knew, and this guy that we all think we are when we're thinking we're awesome, and their relationship together. And it's deeply nostalgic and yet forward thinking at the same time. It's super clever, super catchy, big hit, should have been.
Yep. Another kind of whiplash tune there, but then we get into She's Always a Woman.
Yeah, which this really tells a true story of what this marriage was all about. This is very, very much about his ex-wife. And this song, like Just the Way You Are, the two biggest hits from the album, both just totally disappeared. Like right away from his sort of live overview and like the things he was willing to talk about and engage in, which was weird. You got the sense that it was a guy, resenting and ignoring his hit songs because they were overplayed or whatever. But I think it's more than that. I think those tunes are really about this relationship. And when this relationship ended, it was kind of painful to revisit the positive aspects about it. But of course, what's brilliant about She's Only a Woman, other than it's just a brilliant piano song, is that the negative aspects of the relationship are in the song as well. And they're songs about things balancing out until they don't. And that's what's really, really cool about it, I think.
The real story of what happened to Brenda and Eddie. She's Always a Woman.
Yeah.
All right. Get It Right the First Time.
That's the main thing. Get It Right the First Time is kind of weird, but I really, really dig it. It's got a very cool groove to it. And the groove is everything, which a lot of 70s songs, when you're thinking about like Steely Dan or bands like that, this sort of the rhythm beneath the things, the thing that makes it come alive. And I don't love this song, but compared to some of the others surrounding it, but compared to something like All You Want to Do Is Dance, which it's very similar to, it's awesome. So
yeah, agreed. And then he ends, we go to church with Everybody Has a Dream.
Yeah, which is great.
Gets
this
the
song's
Hammond organ out. Yeah.
This song's designed to close the album. He knows it's closing it, and he's like, what should I write? And I don't want to keep using the word anthemic, because this isn't anthemic in the same way Captain Jack is.
This is spiritual. This is
we're all lighting Bix and swaying back and forth and singing the big chorus, singing the chorus together. That's why they call it a chorus after all, but you don't always see that. And we've never seen that one of his songs before. It's a great album closer to a truly great star-making album. That's 5 albums in the works. Again, or is it 4? It's 5. I can't stress how amazing it is that they let him get this far before he became a big rock star. Most people don't get 5 shots at it. So, A Piano Man helped. That helped.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough on its own for him to not be a one-hit wonder. This song's got like 4 hit songs on it, plus 2 other indelible classics, plus Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. So it's got something for everybody.
There it is. All right. In the very next year, 1978, another banger, 52nd Street, first track, Big Shot.
This is Billy Joel at his most biting and negative. Even the ballads on this album are depressing and angry. And it's because his world's falling apart. His managers run off with his money and his wife. And he's been left with nothing, and he's got to go back to work, and he's just got nothing but bile and darkness. The thing that's great about Big Shot is really how judgy and awful it is. It's the judgiest of judgy songs, but that's awesome. It's catchy. It rocks. Russell Javer's guitar and Liberty DeVito's drums on this, in particular. His touring band is now his studio band, and you can really, really feel that. And the other thing that's, I guess we'll get to the other thing that's great about it later, but Big Shot's fantastic.
Real quick, Big Shot introduced this song to my son, and he's like, "Dad, what's a dincha?" And I'm like, I don't understand. He's like, "You got to be a big shot, dincha." Hey, and I'm like, "Oh, dincha." So now my son and I, when we want to kind of poke fun at each other, or you're like, that dude's a dincha. It's
affected vocals that actually work and are fun to do yourself, and that you don't feel kind of dirty doing, which is nice.
And that's when he rages out on stage too. It's
fantastic song, fantastic live song. Everything about it is good.
All right, next up is Honesty.
Such a lonely word. Honesty's not on any of his greatest hits albums. It's Insanity. Why? Somebody has to. I've never gotten an explanation for that, and somebody has to. It was a big hit. It's a beautiful song. What's missing? You hear only the same loser anecdote about it all the time, which is that it was this tune he had kicking around for years, and would all play it on the piano kind of in between recording sessions and stuff. And his drummer and friend, Liberty DeVito, started singing Sodomy along to it. So he felt he finally had to write lyrics to it, so it didn't become the Sodomy song. But Honesty, really, really good. Very Elton Johnny, very Bernie Taupin style lyrics, and fantastic, and a big hit single. And it's weird that, again, it's sort of been left behind. Came back out in the Russia tour a little bit, but that's it.
I did hear Elton John sing this song in their side by side.
It's perfect for Elton, right?
All right, next up is
it's Billy Joel's "Sorry" seems to be the hardest word, is what it is to me. Those two songs are kissing cousins.
Next up is My Life. Ooh. Yeah, that's what that track comes from.
Somewhere, if you go visit our friend Dana's page, you'll hear Joel tell a really fun story about me and him singing karaoke to My Life that we can't tell in 40 seconds.
No, we can't.
My Life's great, kind of created by the producer. It's an excellently produced and cut hit single. It's got fantastic lyrics. It was the theme for ages until the rights got revoked to Bosom Buddies on TV and syndication, which I loved. It's got Donnie Dacus and Peter Cetera singing along on the choruses. It's a piano song, but it's a piano song and kind of the way he does it, where it's hard to explain, but it's like only Billy Joel could have wrote My Life, and yet it's so catchy and universal. And to me, that's pop magic. In a nutshell. I love it. I love that song.
All right, next up is Zanzibar.
Piano man for the jazz cocaine 70s, basically, is what it is. It really is. This really is the remake of Piano Man. Most people will go like, what? Even people who've known him forever, but it is that. I'm sorry. It's a different bar. It's a different weird group of characters that he's singing about. This is a character he's sort of making up now. This is some young kid that he's looking back as, on the I got a jazz guitar guy. But I really, really like Zanzibar, because if you're going to kind of remake a song, it's almost like a send up of that style of song. And yet it has so many cool moments and surprising musical moments in it. I quite dig it.
I believe sitting in your dorm room many, many moons ago, I was playing, and you decided to quiz me on could I play any Billy Joel song, and you were, going along, and you went, "Ha ha, Zanzibar!" And I went, "Doodly doo doo," and you went, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, that's pretty
I'm like,
good.
Unfortunately, that's all I know of it. I couldn't remember.
That was enough. That was enough to pass the test.
All right, next up, Stiletto.
It's such again, really dark, ugly, gross, urban New York sort of jazz song about a femme fatale. Everyone's written rock songs about this chick. She's coming to get you. She's going to ruin your life.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's going to be worth it for a while, but you're really going down, mate. And that's what the tune is. And and the fact that it's called Stiletto, it's outstanding. Getting stabbed by the knife or the high heel, it doesn't really matter when the pain feels so good. Very, very clever tune. Really, really great way to start the second side of 52nd Street.
Right. And then we get a massive tonal change here with Rosalinda's Eyes.
Yeah, well, I think again, if he's creating this in order, I think at some point here he's like, geez, it can't all be
yeah.
It can't all be dark alleys and, whatever. My life isn't exactly that. Neither is Honesty, but it's a dark album. And Rosalinda's Eyes, because it doesn't really follow that template, it's kind of the worst song on the album. It's not that it's bad. It's just this one feels like it's here because something like this has to be in this spot. And this was the best we could do.
Right.
And that's not bad, but it's not inspired like the rest of this has been.
He'd been trying to write a song about his mom, and he had a few songs about his mom, and this was the one that ended up he went with for the album. So
it's neat, but it's weird to me that it's about his mom because I don't feel that.
Yeah.
I get why you turn to mom in your dark moments to come up with something positive. That's cool.
Sure. All right, next up is Half a Mile Away.
I don't even.
This is we get some good saxophone, Mark Rivera saxophone.
Oh yeah, right.
Half a mile away. Yeah, and so we get and
we're thoroughly into the contractual obligated part of the album.
No, that is absolutely perfect. We're like, we need this.
He's run out of angry inspiration, and now he's just trying to fill out the rest of this.
You have 3 more songs you got to give us there, Bill. And really, with the next song too. Now,
but the back of the album or the album shows him holding a saxophone, and the saxophone is definitely a star of this record. So he doesn't play the saxophone, but that's not what's
52nd Street. The idea is he's a busker. It's a guy standing on a corner playing the saxophone for money and a hat, and this is everything he's seeing around him. And we get that with Until the Night too.
Much better tune.
You just might make it. Real quick, I mean, not really about the song. Until the Night, I once sang this at an audition, and really committed to it and tried to do it in a theatrical style, tell the story. And the director behind the table was like, "What show is that from?" And I said, "It's not from a show. It's a Billy Joel song." And he's like, "Yeah. Don't ever do that again."
That said, as a Billy Joel song, more or less ending an album, not quite, but pretty much. Until the Night's a big, booming, epic sort of play-out ballad of which he excels at. It's a good one.
Yep. But it doesn't end the album, does it? We get 52nd Street.
A little sax ditty to play us out, which is actually a great way to end the album. So, no more needs to be said about that.
Awesome. All right, let's go to 1982 years later. Glass Houses is the album. First track. You may be right. I may be crazy.
Glass Houses with him standing outside the glass house with the rock. That's great. That's about as perfect. That was my introduction. Sums up Billy Joel visually right there in one idea.
That was my introduction to him. Was that there used to be those little bubble gums that were in the shape of records. And I'm like, oh, this one has my name on it, Billy Joel. And I got it. And he's like, oh, it's cool. He's standing in front of a glass house. He's got a rock. He's going to shatter. And then I listened to, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And then boom, there we go.
Not nearly as much piano on this album. He's embracing new wave song styles, but the singer-songwriter is still there. You May Be Right is basically just Big Shot again, but it was a huge hit because it's different enough and because it's a really, really great, fantastic song that angry white boomers really, really identified with.
Yeah,
it's in it
again. Great, big angsty chorus. It's really good. And then we get Sometimes a Fantasy.
Oh, I really like. Of course, I'm a child of the '80s, and Sometimes a Fantasy is this very again, very 80s new wave style approach to songwriting, and it's I love it. I love Sometimes a Fantasy, a minor chart hit, but on the first side of Glass Houses, which is pop perfection, really. It's the one that sort of got left behind, but I really, really dig it. I love the keyboards in it. I love the play out of it. I love the ohs. I just love all that stuff. So skinny tie, new wave Billy Joel at its best.
This is absolutely skinny tie Billy Joel. And he's got. He's still got a really young man's angst. That's and that's what we still get a lot of that.
But he's having fun here in a way where 52nd Street was dour and serious.
Right.
And even the throwaway songs were like trying to dig deep. This is him bouncing around and having a good time and rocking out, and you feel it, and no more so than on this next song.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. What is that? That's like a little, almost like a bossa nova type beat.
It's weird. It's in a weird. It comes in a weird spot, but again, this is a big classic Billy Joel song. It's a big hit song. All three of these songs so far were singles, as was the next song.
As was the next song.
And you feel that. It's just the magic of pop creation. And this is a more mercenary tune, but it comes to life in a brilliant way, and it's super catchy and super fun.
It's super catchy.
I always forget it's from this album. It sounds like a leftover from The Stranger to me, but it's really, really good.
Very good point. Yeah. All right, and then we get one of his most divisive songs from people.
Really?
It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. A lot of people do not like this song.
Why? Because they're idiots. What's not to like about this song?
Well, because it's the poppiness of it. It's the superficial poppiness of it, of like saying this is what's cool and blah blah blah. And again, this is skinny tie Billy Joel.
It's a rock star writing about rock, and more than that, just like he's defending it. He's saying all this shit that you complain about, the disco, the synthesizers, it's all rock and roll, baby. Just chill out and have a good time. I have no idea why anyone could hate that sentiment. It's the opposite of judgy. It's pulling everything in. I love It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. I love the sentiment behind it. I think the lyrics are extremely clever. It's catchy. It's his first #1 hit ever.
Yep.
And it deserves to be. It's one of the best songs in 1980, in my opinion.
Yeah, great bounce to it. One of my favorite songs, All for Lena.
My God, I love All for Lena so much. Both Joel and I love this in an outsized way.
It is, it's
incredible piano hook. An incredible story song of a guy going just down into the abyss because it's a infatuation and obsession with the girl, and the way all the things in his life are coming at him. There's nothing in it for you because I'm doing it all for Lena. I love All for Lena. It's my favorite Billy Joel song to sing along with in the car, bar none.
Great keyboard solo toward it's
not a hit. First song on the album that's not a hit or a Stone Cold classic, but it closes out the first side just miraculously.
And then next we got I Don't Want to Be Alone.
Who does, really?
Yeah. I don't want to be alone.
Now we're on the sort of quietly awesome but completely inferior second side of Glass Houses, and it'll be harder for me to talk about these songs, even though none of them are bad, and one of them's almost classic as the rest. This isn't one of them, though. I Don't Want to Be Alone's not bad. I like it because what I like about it is in here he's calming down from all that angry, angsty stuff that we've had for an album and a half so far, and he's getting more in touch with that contemplative side of himself. And I Don't Want to Be Alone, I always thought was almost him making peace with him being on his own during this era where I think he created some of his best music, which is weird. It's the opposite of what he's saying, but you feel that in it. Yeah.
And then following that, we get Sleeping with the Television On.
Yeah. Really, really good new wave inspired rock song.
Correct. Yeah. Just really nice, fun pop. Yeah, I mean, again, sleeping with it's not a banger. It's not a one. It's not something that you're gonna, it's not one that you're gonna go, yes, I can't wait for.
It evokes the same loneliness that we're feeling, and yet there's something about it. I don't know. Sleeping with the television on is great. Starts with the national anthem playing in the background. That's what used to happen when TV went off the air.
And then comes in. Yeah, and it's the happier version of Sometimes a Fantasy. I mean, it's that late night,
the less
late
angry
night
version.
thoughts. Yeah. All right, now we get into C'est à toi. You are the one.
By many people, the worst ever Billy Joel song.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there. In the conversation, right? It has to be, because what are you doing here, dude? Again, what he's doing is he's had a thing he came into this with, and it's the idea, the drive has completely left the building, and so now he's just trying to get to the end, get to the 10 songs. I mean, I really do feel like that's what's happening here, and he's running out of time, and so let's try this, and it shouldn't be hated. It's lovely. It's nice. I get what he's going for, but it's really, really corny, and it's surrounded by these other tunes. It feels even more so, unfortunately.
Yeah. Gotta love a little Long Island French. All right. Then we get Close to the Borderline.
Close to the Borderline's better. Step in the right direction. Good recovery. Not great song, but pretty good one. I mean, I like it, definitely.
Yeah, it's a bop. It's got a good beat to it. It's got good drive. It's a good pop song.
He set out to write pop rock songs, and that's as good. Even the name of the thing is as cliched a pop rock song as you could have, but it fits with the rest of these in a great way, which is cool.
Yep. And then finally, to cap off Glass Houses, Through the Long Night. Some wonderful harmonies. Some playing with some interesting harmonies. One of the first times I really recognized him, sort of trying some different things with the it's songcraft over inspiration again, but it in this case the songcraft is very, very clever and really interesting. Sometimes you can go too far in that direction and the whole thing falls apart and you don't even really have a catchy song anymore. But that's not what happens here. Through the Long Night's a great way to end a really, really, really good album that is beloved by many. It is up there and as one of my all-time favorites, but in 1982 my absolute favorite Billy Joel song came out, and that would be The Nylon Curtain. And the first track on that is Allentown,
song that had been kicking around for years, that he basically put Reaganomic angsty lyrics to, about the factories closing down, and really these are still issues that are very much, I think, ways lots of us liberal idiots didn't realize are still with us today. And he tells a really great story from the point of view of the person chasing the American dream in the most modest way, and how the rug's just been completely pulled out from underneath them. It's such a catchy song. It's got the little steam bells and things, the little sound effects that sort of propel it along, and make it an 80s song.
The big pipe that dude's hitting with a hammer. Yeah,
but it's really, really lyrically good. Even though the song is old, he really breathed new life into it, and it's one of the best songs on this album.
Absolutely. Remember all the problems he was having with
tons of empathy in it, which is unlike him, frankly.
Yeah.
And it works really, really great.
Great point. Absolutely. Remember the problems he was having with Lena? Well, he's having them again with Laura.
His goddaughter, right? This is clearly a guy singing to a younger person. And this is the other Paul McCartney song where the thing really flies. This is one of Joel's, keeping it under wraps over there. This is one of Joel's favorite Billy Joel songs. And
absolutely.
It's worthy to be one. It's a great, weird, personal story. His age and maturity is in the songwriting. And yet him turning, it's not a Beatles ripoff song at all, but it's got just enough of that you get what he's going for in this great way. And
the production of it, the sound is so big, but he sings his lyrics really earnestly. And it really to me it's such a wonderful balance. It's really really fun.
Laura, I wish you could benefit from all my failure, but you just have to figure this shit out for yourself. Is basically
Correct.
what it is, and it's him making peace with that. He can't intervene in any meaningful way. That's a big message to be in a pop song, and it's a really great one.
Yep. Next up is a song that most people, when they get their first keyboard, they learn this keyboard solo, and it's Pressure.
Pressure, right? There hasn't been a Billy Joel concert go by since its creation that hasn't featured it prominently.
Yeah.
Pressure's got a great keyboard hook to it. It's got a great lost third verse that they cut out on the radio.
Yep.
It's really, really cool sign of our times, like just reacting to the world around him sort of thing. This is the sort of thing that it's too bad, but in retrospect, people judge him really harshly for his limited way of seeing the world. Well, he sees it the way he sees it. I mean, I've just never seen that as like a bad thing. I get that there's condescension and a decent amount of bile in that, which people don't like, but there's honesty in it. When he stopped trying to make everything so pretty is really when he found his voice as an artist, in my opinion. And I think that's what's powerful about his stuff.
Yeah.
Pressures doesn't feel very personal, but it's outstanding, I think.
Also, we get in this, we really start to get, I'm trying to quick scroll back here. Yeah, I mean, not since Big Shot did we get him really using his voice in an aggressive way. He's very, like you said, he's not as interested in sounding good as he is sounding correct, sounding right, sounding appropriate, and sounding angry. And we get that a lot. We get that a little bit with the next song, Goodnight Saigon, his hymn to Vietnam.
And completely embraced by the Vietnam community and the MIA POW community and stuff like it. I found that artists who had nothing to do with Vietnam, who wrote about Vietnam, were almost universally, at least in this era, embraced by veterans. Different veterans come out to his shows and stand behind him. They're just invited up on stage to share in this. It's a really, really good song. It's really pretentious. This is in 1982. Socially conscious, Amnesty Internationals, everything people complained about over meaning rock, but it has an amazing chorus. It tells a unique and amazing sort of Vietnam experience story. First person, which is a really brave thing for him to do, and I just think it's a very, very admirable tune. If not the absolute classic, it's sort of treated as a song, is still really, really good and surprising move from him. I mean, if you're going to do socially conscious songwriting, this is the way to do it, in my opinion.
Right. All right. Next up is She's Right on Time.
Yeah, she is. And this is sort of, this was tried to be the third single off the album, but this song's a little complicated melodically to have pulled that off, but it had a video and everything, I believe.
Yeah, this ain't a sing-along song. This one's hard to sing along with.
It's weird. It's complicated. So, but I get that they didn't want to release the 8-minute Vietnam song, and Laura has some bad language in it and other problems. So what do? It's funny that an album that we love so much really only has the couple of obvious hits. But She's Right on Time is really cool. I dig it. It's sort of a holiday tune in a weird way.
You're absolutely right. It is kind of a holiday tune. It plays in my Christmas mix. A Room of Our Own.
I like A Room of Our Own less. But I get it. Yeah. I think it's kind of neat.
It's a good, it's a fine song. It's a filler. I mean, in terms of all the songs on this album, you're like, okay, this is fine. But I mean, this'll
do the trick.
This'll do the trick. But it ain't great. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not great, and it's kind of funny because his next album's just full of this song over and over and over again, and they're all awesome.
What? Yeah,
what it takes is not an idea, but it takes a person to inspire a love song, in my opinion. And that once you've got a person it made all the difference, basically.
And then it shouldn't surprise you at all with the next track, Surprises.
Oh, I don't. What surprises? I'll let you do that one.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, Surprises again. Big electronic keyboard. Lots. Again, it's really moody. Don't be excited, don't be nothing was hurt, so it doesn't surprise you at all. Kind of a McCartney riff on the.
No, that's a good song, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been, but it didn't jump out at me. I guess it's the title.
Yeah.
The title's not sung in the way like Pressure and whatever is. It doesn't stick with you. Those tend to be trickier. It's not bad. This whole album is really, really good. It's a really good,
solid album. Yeah, this is the album that gets played more than any for me. Next up, Scandinavian Skies. Also a really cool tune.
Yep.
Some fun musical things going on here. With
different sort of experimentation. When they were making Nylon Curtain, they didn't run out of time like they did on a couple of albums. So these songs at the end are, even though they're not the classic songs, they're fully realized productions. His producer's Phil Ramone, still at this point, and has been for a while, since The Stranger, I believe. And he gets it, and this song's pretty good because of that.
Yeah. And
the next song, even more so, is like a huge production thing.
This next song, the story that I told where the guy was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I said, "It's a Billy Joel song." He said, "Never do that again." This song, "Where's the Orchestra," is a song I have sung in auditions. I've sung it in concert. I have sung it, and when I tell people that it's a Billy Joel tune, they are astonished. They have no idea. I love this song, "Where's the Orchestra."
It's really, really good. It's really good, and it's obviously a Billy Joel song, except when you pull it out of context, and it really isn't, because it isn't. It isn't much like anything else we know about him, especially from this era. I think if you told them it was from 1982, too, they'd be equally astonished. It's a beautiful tune. It's a huge, lush thing, and yet it doesn't seem to be, at least nothing I know of, whereas I can hear the influences. I don't hear them here. I'm not sure what they are, which just makes it all the better, frankly, because it makes it feel all the more original. The lyric is winsome and beautiful, and it's a fantastic way to end an album.
It is. It's so sad. It's so wonderful. This character is so not where he thought he was, or where he was supposed to be. It is. I mean, there is a clear character in Where's the Orchestra that to me has always, I've always just loved as someone who's lived in the theater. All right, let's jump ahead into An Innocent Man, 1983's Innocent Man. And the first track is Easy Money.
Rock it out to Easy Money.
What was this movie that this was for? This was that
It was for a Rodney Dangerfield movie called Easy Money.
Was it Easy Money? Why did I think it was? Oh no, I'm thinking of a different. There's a Bette
I'm not sure which came first, the song or the movie, and the movie used the song because it was named the same thing or whatever. But it was the first song he worked on for this record, and it's a standout song because there's nothing like Easy Money for the rest of the album. And it rocks and it's fun, and it rocks and it's fun. I mean, it doesn't get much more complicated than that for that tune, but it's a good album lead off.
Yeah.
Not as good as recent ones we've had, but it's decent enough.
Right. And that leads into the titular the album track. The titular album track usually appears a lot of times in this number 2 position, and that's An Innocent Man.
Really, really, really good song.
Yeah.
The whole album, he said, I mean, obviously the whole album's about his love, his falling in love with his second wife, Christy Brinkley, and it's about falling in love again. And it's full of the sound. The lyrics are pretty sophisticated, especially on An Innocent Man. On Innocent Man, the music rises to meet the sophisticated lyrics. On most of the songs on this album, the songs are deliberately simple and fun and throwbacks to different eras and stuff.
Yeah.
This tune, though, is the sort of stairway to heaven of the thing, where it really is the whole story in one song.
Yeah.
And you almost felt like he could have just gone home, but needed some of the, after this.
Yeah,
but needed some of that easy money, so he kept writing pop songs.
Yeah, this was this one pays tribute to Benny King. Stand By Me, that bass line, the Drifters. Yeah. And then we get, then if you had any doubt about what this album was going to be, you get it with this next song, The Longest Time.
Whoa.
Gonna do some full-on doo-wop here.
Full-on doo-wop. Fantastic vocal arrangement. Bunch of Billy Joels singing together. That's a fun little thing. Tough to recreate in concert, but for what became a pretty big hit. But it's a great song. It's a fantastic recreation of a doo-wop song. It's no wonder everybody loved it and still loves it. It's great. And it's positive and full of life and love and yearning and stuff. And what's not to like about that? That's what great pop songs are. Comes from the heart.
Yep. And next up is I think it's my favorite track on the album. But this is Beethoven as a pop song. This Night.
Well, except that it just completely rips off Beethoven, right?
Yeah,
that's the only problem with it.
Yeah, but there's something I like about it. It's like you're listening to this and you just kind of make up your own lyrics to it, and he ends up. He ends up creating this really lovely. Well, right, and as a ripoff of a Beethoven tune, it's very knowing. It's very knowing. He credits Beethoven in
right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the inspiration. It's more than just during my chorus here, I'm going to sing your tune. There's more Beethoven-esque stuff sort of hidden in it, even though it also wackily fits into the old late 50s, early 60s doo-wop style of the rest of the album too. It's pretty clever.
It's the
little too clever for me though.
Yeah, I always picture like a 1950s prom and this song that song being sung at the prom.
Totally.
Next up, Tell Her About It.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Great. We won't talk too much about Tell Her About It, although the video is fantastic. Billy's in prime MTV era and delivers a great video, which is good. You could ask people who think they even know Billy Joel really well. They'll have a really hard time with this. Ask them what his 3 number 1 songs were. The first thing out of their mouth is guaranteed to be wrong. Yeah. And they may stumble upon the other 2 of the 3. The one they will never, ever guess is Tell Her About It.
Right.
I've played this joke on many, 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 many people through the years, and they never remember that Tell Her About It was a number 1 song because it came and it went. It had the big video. It certainly sums up, again, the style of the album. Fantastic guardian angel telling a kid to express his feelings to the girl he loves. There's nothing not to like about that. But it doesn't get performed in concert much. It just sort of poof, went away. And weirdly, Uptown Girl and which we're about to talk about, and For the Longest Time, and even some of the others are considered like more classic songs. But the number 1 Billboard hit from An Innocent Man is Tell Her About It.
Yep, and we get we're at Uptown Girl.
The other number 1 hit we've already talked about for the sake of the game is Still Rock and Roll to Me.
Roll to Me, yep.
I'll tell you the other one when we get to it.
Uptown Girl with we get to it's all this is Christy Brinkley. This is all about holy crap. There's no reason why this woman should be into me, but she is.
He's completely out of his league. And that's a great feeling. And it's a great song from that perspective. And we all so empathize with that. And it's a great self-deprecating song. Again, there's no angst or bitterness here. There's a little winsomeness on this album, but the positivity is off the hook, and it's fun and infectious. It's why it's his best-selling album of all time.
Yeah, Happy Billy Joel is a weird thing.
It is, but 10 great love songs is that 8 of which he knocks out of the park. It's like really hard to argue with how good the quality of the music is.
All right, next up is Careless Talk.
Oh,
Careless Talk. It's a little Sam Cooke action kind of going on there.
Why not? We've had everybody else up to this point. Yeah, it's just a throwback sounding song. It's not one of the best ones. Maybe the worst one if I had to pick one. Maybe Easy Money is worse.
I don't love Easy Money, so yeah, I think that's always
I don't think anybody does. But I appreciate that it is something different on an album of all the same stuff. Whereas this is the same, but not as good as the others. So that's my take. That's my take for you on this one.
Next up is Christy Lee, the hard rock
why not
piano.
Just call her out by name? We're dating now, wherever we were at the beginning of the album with trust issues and stuff. Now we're together. I'll throw it out there and sing a happy love song to you. It's pretty good, but it's coming after the kind of low point of the record, and it doesn't rebound great until you get to the last two tunes, which are as good a last coupling pair as there is for him.
And we needed a little harmonica, so we go with a little Leave a Tender Moment Alone.
Really, really good song. Shocking to get a song this good at this point of this album with this many hits in it. And yet here it is, single number 5, which was a hit.
Yep.
Unbelievably.
It's a good track.
It is, and I love the harmonica. It always makes me think of Stevie Wonder, but that's not the worst thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then to close out this one, we get Keeping the Faith.
Again, amazing that he has another big hit pop song in him at this point in the record. It's not how we've had good closers and really weak closers, but rarely does he just you just felt like he just could have kept going forever. He's hot. You're hot, man.
Yeah.
Everything you're writing is turning to gold. Keeping the Faith's great. Keeping the Faith's got a fun video. I don't love Keeping the Faith, I guess, as much as some people, but
yeah,
I get the appeal. It's really, really great.
It's got a fun. It's a fun beat. It's it captures everything that a kid growing up on Long Island wants to think about.
It sums up the whole album in a really, really great way. At least the nostalgia of the album, it sums up perfectly. It's a great way to end it.
And I think you're right. He could have kept going. So in 1985, we get they release, because such a huge success of Innocent Man, they release a Greatest Hits 1 and 2. But to kind of fill out,
and even though Innocent Man was a 1983 album, 1984 radio was full of these songs. So it had huge coattails and went on and on and on. That's 6 hit songs. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
really amazing. Was a blockbuster 80s record.
And so they released the Greatest Hits 1 and 2 so that people could get all of the songs that were all of the great songs that were previous, or
even though it doesn't have Honesty on it, or Keeping the Faith, or Leave a Tender Moment Alone.
Yeah. They threw those on in the Innocent Man stuff they put on the volume 3, but we did get 2 original tunes in Greatest Hits 1 and 2, and so we are including them, and they're good songs in their own right. The Second Wind, You're Only Human,
big huge hit song with a giant multi-million-dollar budgeted music video.
Yeah.
And a very typical of 85 rock songs. Everyone had one at the time. It was like a Good Advice or Keep Your Chin Up, Partner type song.
Don't kill yourself. Hey, don't go killing yourself.
Don't go killing yourself. Be good to yourself. There's a whole bunch of songs that artists were doing at this time, especially on Columbia, which is his record label. I don't know why. Maybe that was an edict from the top, or maybe it was just a weird coincidence. Yeah. We needed it. 85 was rough, man.
Yeah.
Any sort of positivity you can give us. I dig this tune. It's mercenary in a way that I got to write a couple songs for this project. I haven't written a couple songs in a couple years. One of them's got to get on the radio and be a big hit, and that one did. It's great.
Yeah. All right, and then the other song on that album is "The Night Is Still Young."
Yeah, another big long ending song. Yeah. He ends his greatest hits with it. Wasn't a hit really, but it is good enough to sit with that big double albums collection of classics, and it has that great playing on forever. Like after it fades out, you think it's still playing somewhere, kind of feel to the thing. I dig it. It's Phil Spector again, which we don't really need, but it's neat. It's a good song. So I mean, if you're only going to get 2 in 3-4 years, these 2 are worthy, I would say.
Yeah. And so we get, 19, the greatest hits come out in 85. 86, we get a brand new album, and it's called The Bridge, and people are very excited. Countdown on MTV to when this album was going to come out.
Right.
And we get the first track on The Bridge is Running on Ice.
Same sort of prelude, Angry Young Man, like style, high energy style to the intro to the song. Running on Ice is catchy and fun. It moves too fast though to be a song that, like, it's weird to me. Running on Ice always sounds, even though it's supposed to sound this way, it always sounds like unbelievable to me. This song can't quite exist in a normal place where a song would be. I don't know, but it's meant to be a high energy, start to an album, which it is. It's very catchy. So off to a good start as far as those things go. Better than Easy Money anyway.
Yeah. And so next up is This Is the Time. Time to Remember.
Right. Not a hit, not a single either, but basically the fan favorite song from this album.
Mm-hmm.
I think this album it's not more Christy Lee stuff. There's a little bit of that in here, but he's trying to write a more sophisticated song for a more sophisticated audience, and they're not really buying in. So I think the real classics from this record, a couple of big chart hits, but the real classics from this record emerged later as you lived with it for a while. No song represents that more than This Is the Time, which is very much already a melancholy interior look at a relationship that just started. The last songs we just listened to were all falling in love, and now we're like questioning everything. but it's a hopeful song, and I think that makes it. I think that's why people love it.
Yeah. And then, so when this album came out, the first video off of this was A Matter of Trust, and it's Billy Joel playing a guitar. Blew people's minds.
What?
He's not supposed to be playing a guitar.
It's Matter of Trust.
Thing?
Matter of Trust is a great 1986 hit single. Really, really good song.
Mm-hmm.
Really great. It's weird because even though it was the lead-off single from The Bridge, the other single came out months earlier because it was tied to a movie again. So
right.
So we've already had a hit song of Billy Joel's months before we got this album, even though it's in the order he sort of created it still. Mm-hmm. But I like Matter of Trust. I don't mind him playing the guitar. The video's fun. The songs, again, I don't think it's necessarily what people wanted. It's not a stone cold classic, but it's a really, really good pop song.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so next up is Modern Woman.
An exceptional pop song. Very 86 sort of overproduced. So not quite like the stuff, not quite like the throwback stuff from Innocent Man, but this is the most Innocent Man-y tune on here. And again, very inspired by his relationship. It was used very famously in the film Ruthless People, which was the first R-rated movie that Disney put out.
That's what I was trying to think of earlier. But,
so that's kind of, although it has nothing to do with that movie, but that's so much the better, I guess, because you don't have to think of the two things tied together. But this was actually the big hit from this record, but it was already been a hit. And the album really only produced Matter of Trust, only really one more hit afterwards. So, and it didn't sell nearly as well as his last huge blockbuster album or his greatest hits album. So it's considered something of a disappointment, but I love Modern Woman. That's fun to hear.
Modern Woman, you can hear the shoulder pads on Modern Woman. So next up is the first of his collaborations on this album, and it's Baby Gran, which he sang with Ray Charles.
You wrote a song in the style of Ray Charles and asked Ray to sing it with him and play the piano. I mean, my God, it's a love song to the piano by two of the greatest piano men ever. I mean, how could it not work? And it does. It works like gangbusters. It's a really charming song. Got some attention in radio, even though it wasn't released as a single. It's weird because he's ahead of the game a lot with some of the stuff he's doing. Certainly bringing doo-wop back. Certainly this early 80s socially conscious stuff really didn't start happening until around now, and Peter Gabriel and Simple Minds and all that started going totally. And this collaboration, bring the old guy in and do his song with them, that's all we got for the next however many 7 years. This is the best version of that kind of thing. The least cynical, the best executed, and the best, what is the core of the thing? And here it lives and breathes on your turntable for you. Really, really great tune.
So after this love song to the piano, we start the next song with a giant keyboard riff on Big Man on Mulberry Street.
I'm not a bad guy, Joel.
No.
Very Mulberry Street, very 52nd Street, very, very jazz, very New York, very storyteller oriented. This is the time probably, but this really is in the running for best song on the bridge. It's just it's weird that he manages to do a classic old 70s Billy Joel sounding song at this point. It sounds like the Saturday Night Live band playing you into commercial. Like it really has this sort of big band jazz riff cred to it. And the lyric is it's fantastic storytelling lyric, I think.
It's to me, it's if 52nd Street and Innocent Man had a kid, it would be Big Man on Mulberry Street. Great little tune, Temptation.
Oh, yes. It's a beautiful song. Sort of the final produced song on the album. The next two songs are pretty much just demos. They ran out of money and they ran out of time, and if Columbia wanted to get their stuff released, they'd started their countdown or whatever on MTV, and they got to deliver. This is beautiful. Beautiful chords on the piano that just by themselves are ear candy and wonderful to listen to. The song is quiet and simple, but lovely. It's sort of a song of lust and attraction, but it's just so much more soulful and wonderful than that. I really, really dig it. It's about the person you love being irresistible to you.
Yeah, it's like Christy Brinkley's asleep in the other room, and he just caught a glimpse of her and is like, "What the? I can't. What? How? He's asking of himself the question we've all asked: How is she with you?"
Well, like a lot of the bridge, it's a little overcooked, but it's so good. I really like Temptation.
Right. So then we get into the first, where this is like Ryan said, got to couple up. Anyone in the building? Anyone around? Oh, hey, Cyndi Lauper's in the building. Let's see if she wants to come by and
she's
jam
on the label, right? We can we can compel her to do this.
Code of Silence with Cyndi Lauper.
It's good. It actually shows you it's weird though, because it's such a raw song, and when you get yet another raw song afterwards, after all the running on ice, like all the histrionics and all the overproduction, it's strange to get a song that just sounds like the band played it a couple times and they took the second take, and then Cyndi went off to finish her album, and that was it. But it's a good, Code of Silence is a good song. Cindy's barely on it. I think they could have made more of her, but the singing that she does on it is great. It's the hook of the song, so they did use her at sort of the key moment.
Right. And then you get, so we checked one end of the building. Who's on the other end? Steve Winwood's in town. Woo! Hey, let's go see if Steve wants to come by so that they can both play some synths on Getting Closer.
Yeah, which is the last song, right? 9 songs. Not even a full 10-song album. I like Getting Closer. Again, given the circumstances of its creation and that it was just whipped together, it's inspired, and it was wise of him when he was lacking inspiration to look to other artists to inspire them. And it's neat that they just are here. Yeah. And that's cool. And of course, this tour was the big first Western artist let in past the Berlin Wall to play in the Eastern Bloc and the Soviet states on tour. And that was a big deal for him. And it came out of this, and these songs sort of go with that in a weird way, particularly this one and Code of Silence. So.
Right. Absolutely. All right, so that bridge is done, and he goes to Russia. He's on a big world tour. Comes back, turns around 1989 with the album Stormfront. Kicks off with That's Not Her Style.
Yeah, these albums are taking longer and longer and longer for him to churn out. That's Not Her Style is another love song, but it's also a lead off rockin' song. It's, again, none of these are, since, I don't know, I don't love That's Not Her Style. It's one of the weaker songs on the album, but it shows you, I got to go back to work. It's, what do I got? I got to start putting stuff down. And this one, I don't know, it's got the happy relationship in it still, which is nice. Even though he's a family man and that's sort of part of the lyrics, I like that he's still singing about his wife and his love of his life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we get to We Didn't Start the Fire. They say you should write what you know, and Billy Joel literally was like, well, what do I know? And he literally writes down everything that he can remember.
Totally mercenary. I remember all my REM fan friends ripping on that this was a total ripoff of It's the End of the World as We Know It, which it is, at least in form. But this song is his third number one song, and with good reason. There's two good reasons. One, it's off the wall idea for a song, even though it's a completely mercenary, impersonal song as they come. This one has all the songcraft and all the big ideas that you need. The way he strings all these chattered phrases together and tells the history of the United States is fun. But the reason this was a huge hit is the chorus, man. The tribal drums and that hook in the chorus, you want to sing along with it. You wait patiently through all the crap to get to it every time. And that's the perfect thing about a perfect song. It's why it was a cultural zeitgeist of a tune, about cultural zeitgeistism, if there's such a thing. It's all in there. I'm not cynical about We Didn't Start the Fire. I think it's glorious.
And the way REM fans get to sing, yell out Leonard Bernstein, boomers get to yell out Rock and Roller Cola Wars. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Next up is Downeaster Alexa. He gets out his accordion and shows us that the trauma of playing the accordion from his youth is now paying off.
Well, it's this story about the work. It's the Allentown of the album. It's story of he names the fishing boat of the main character's sort of living that he makes, modest living that he makes, after his daughter, which is a little weird. But it's a beautiful working class song about a lost era, about a lost generation losing what's most precious to them. It really is haunting and gorgeous. It really feels like you're out to sea in the North Atlantic. You know what I mean? It's evocative, and everything about it sort of works. It wasn't. Yeah. It's a little too esoteric to be a huge hit, but it was a minor hit.
Yeah,
it's all it could have been.
I remember seeing this the first time I saw the Stormfront tour live. Seeing him, I was really this song was really affecting live. Like him playing the accordion, the way, like you said, sort of the waves of the sound kind of come. Yeah, it was really, really cool live,
and just mournful, utterly mournful about a loss of a way of life.
Yep. All right. Next up is I Go to Extremes.
Great pop song. Really, really good. Wow, where did this come from? That's Not Her Style does not suggest we were going to get this kind of blockbuster album from, and it actually turns out we don't. But hey, in this middle section of the first side, we were rocking. Yep. And I love I Go to Extremes. I love it's all he did was take a cliche and wrap his own style lyric around it, but it has as good a piano playing as you will ever hear, certainly on any of the later albums of his. It's got a great hook. It had a really fun, great video. Like, it's a big pop song, the best of the best kind.
Yeah.
I adored it. I was so happy to hear this song. I remember when I first listened to this record, this is the one where I was like, wow, another one that we're in for a ride here.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a great pop song. The radio mix for this was different than the album mix. And it made the radio mix seemed much bigger and more epic kind of in its production value. And I the album one, it makes it just seem like, oh, it's a fun pop tune.
It's still pretty big sounding 1989 production from Mick Jones and company, but I know what you're talking about. It's beefed up. That radio mix is beefed up.
All right, next up is Shameless, a song that people think is a Garth Brooks song because he covered it in the same year as Billy Joel. Shameless is Billy Joel. It's end of side one.
Yeah, while Billy Joel was taking 4 years to make each new album, Garth Brooks was across town making 4 albums a year. And this song is a Garth Brooks classic. And you see why. When you listen to the Billy Joel version, you can see why. It actually makes perfect sense. It's I don't like it because of that. It's that sort of new country legacy that it has, which I don't like new country. New NU in this case. But it's a good song. Like, I see why they picked it up. It's got a clever country-styled lyric, actually.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's go back out onto the water with the titular Stormfront. There's a storm front coming. Mood indigo.
There's problems of brewing. Another of the more rockin' tunes on the album. Stormfront, I think, is rather disposable compared to the rest. But again, for its own, for where it comes on the album, for like the kind of thing it isn't disposable. Like, every song on Stormfront has its own personality, and it's this sort of last fully realized pop record. And so in that way, I kind of like it better than some other stuff. But
yeah. And then we get
it's one of those where when you listen to the album after only hearing hits here and there for ages, it's welcome to hear it.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. That's a great way to put that. That's an absolute great observation. But you're right. It's pretty much kind of disposable. It's like, it's there. Next up is a song, Leningrad, about his trip and his tour through Russia, and everything that happened clearly affected him. And his buddy, the clown that he met. If you watch the documentary, his buddy
Leningrad's a really, really good song. It could only be an album song. It's a little too super hyper specific to have like found a place on the radio, but the tune is worthy of being on the radio. It's a very, very good song. And a really nice sort of bringing down the curtain on that whole experience. It's cool that shows up here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So next up is State of Grace.
Oh, I really like State of Grace. Very The Bridge sounding ish. State of Grace starts with a hook, and the chorus does this thing where it does this unexpected thing that only a Billy Joel song does. So there's something about it, unlike Stormfront, because it is kind of one of the minor songs on the album for sure. It has a couple of these things that pull it up with the rest of the group just a little bit more somehow. I don't know what that is, but that's a really, really good song. But also, it doesn't have that. It's not a rocker. Like, now I gotta rock out. It's mid-tempo sort of thing that just he lets it be what it is. And I find it's very comfortable in its own shoes and an awesome song to listen to.
Yeah. And then we get When in Rome.
Oh yeah, When in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's a fun song.
It's fun. It's
at this point in the record, it's getting anything like this is really fun. And again, after Leningrad and State of Grace, it's the variety is everything. And so I like it. Although I'm like same with you. I don't love it.
Yeah. It's like, okay, fun. Good job. But then we get an absolute Stone Cold classic from Billy Joel, and So It Goes.
Yeah, maybe the best piano ballad by a piano ballad extraordinaire, right?
Yeah.
he's under a lot of pressure. He's not enjoying them very much. This is all things that we know at this point in his career.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this song came out of this guy is really kind of amazing under this context. And maybe it's preparing us to be disappointed by him or something. It's hard to explain, but I love this tune. You can talk about it too, because I've been doing most of the talking.
And so it goes. It's so simple. It's so lovely. It is, it is an absolute song you sing to your baby daughter when you're trying to get her to sleep. It's really contemplative, and it sounds like. It sounds like a song that you sing when you're in your calm moments before you're raging out of getting absolutely taken advantage by your management team again. So it's like you can be angry, so mad, and then there's these points where you're just like, in every heart there's a room.
And so it goes. Just wonderful. It's just. It's probably his best album closer of his career. It's so
Absolutely.
good. And that's there's a couple where I'm like, maybe not, but maybe that's saying something. It's a good tune.
Now we get 1993, his last full studio album, The River of Dreams.
The old woman forces him back in the studio. This I've never heard an album that, like, for song after song after song, when it starts out, it's just like a guy who doesn't want to be here and doesn't want to be doing this. Even back in Street Life Serenader, it's like, he's lacking for inspiration, but he's muscling through it, and that's coming from within. This is outside forces. This is his wife saying, "You got to get off the couch." MFer, and
you can't be in your boat this entire time.
I'm not going to be making all the money for us, you know what I mean? And the records company wins the next album, blah, blah, blah. And he's just okay. She's like, if you're not going to start it, you're never going to start it. She's not wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
Starts off with another
No Man's Land. Yeah,
No Man's Land. Another rocker. A song. I think the song's hilarious. It's not bad actually, especially for the first side of River of Dreams. It's probably the highlight. But it's a song about Billy Joel railing against all the Billy Joel fans moving out to his old neighborhood. It's crazy that this song doesn't see the irony in that, but that's also what's wonderful about it. It's about the suburbanization of Long Island and all the other old places in the world that he considers sacred. I get it. I really do. But But the lack of irony is really, really thick because this is an ironic song if there ever was one, in my opinion.
And then we get the next track. As we mentioned, he gets screwed over by his management again. He's lost a ton of money, and so he retaliates with the Great Wall of China.
At least this song comes from somewhere deep within, and I really do appreciate that. So maybe we're off to a good start. These songs are kind of angry. Danny Kortchmar, I shouldn't use this song to rip on Danny Kortchmar because this is one of the good ones. Great Wall of China, it's interesting and it's complicated melody, but the chorus is genuinely good. The metaphor is a bass metaphor, but it still works really great in what he's trying to get at. And it's a catchy tune, which thank Christ for that, because those are in short supply over the next few songs. Korch didn't let him use his old band. I mean, it's like he did everything he could to make him as fish out of water on his own album as possible. Danny's most famous for he's a super producer. He's produced tons of stuff, but he's most famous for producing Don Henley's solo albums. And Henley just sort of let him do his thing. Billy's used to doing everything himself, and there's really something lost until he starts to find himself eventually on this record.
Absolutely. Yeah. The fact that he next song is Blonde Over Blue. Again, fine. But again, he's not using his band, and you can tell it does not sound like Billy Joel with this band, with the band that he's
right. All
trying
gone,
to figure out. Everyone
is that Russell's precision and Liberty's like they're very tight and precise, and the thing sounds like what it is. The drum part sounds like the thing. It's hard to explain. Danny's stuff is it's big slabs of cement hitting the ground. It's just giant whap, whap, whap. It's this huge, muffled, cluttered sound of stuff. And Blonde Over Blue, while simpler, thankfully, it doesn't have a hook to justify its existence. The lyric I get and appreciate, but it's not great. So it's the third mediocre song in a row, really, and it's the worst of the three.
Right.
But don't worry, there's worse coming.
Yeah, don't worry, because we have a minor variation.
Is that the Badu Da Da song?
Yeah, it is.
Worst song on the album. Maybe also in the conversation for worst Billy Joel song of all time. And it's too bad because you can feel the ambition in the thing. He's trying to write something really tricky. It's almost like a progressive rock song because it's a really complicated tune, but it's unnecessarily complicated. And of course, Korchmar's production doesn't help. It's all full of shit, and you can't get in there at what might be some sort of pop song or some sort of rock song that we could enjoy. I remember they were proud of this one when this album came out, but
they really were.
I think Korch talked him into thinking this was a brilliant tune when it's I don't dig it, I admit.
Ba 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 do wop ba 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 do wop ba 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 do wa ta.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hang in there, gang. Things are looking up pretty soon.
All right, let's go to Shades. Shades of Grey. Did we just talk about Shades of Grey?
No, we didn't. Did we skip?
Shades of Grey is ba 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 do wop ba. Sorry, minor variation is so we just talked about Shades of Grey, not minor variation.
That's too bad. Shades of Grey.
Minor variation is that one is, what the heck is that one? Some days I don't have the right to trying to
it's we forgot it because it's forgettable.
Yeah.
Shades of Grey is unforgettable, but not great. And that Shades of Grey, oh yeah, it's not black or white. Yeah, we've heard this before. You're not breaking any new ground in the lyric department, and the music is atrocious. And hurts the ear in a weird way.
Look, I think the fact that we screwed up the order on this tells you, frankly, everything you need to know about these two tracks.
First side of River of Dreams isn't great.
No.
It really is forced and labored and all that stuff that you wouldn't want an album to be, and that really none of these other albums are. So
all right,
where do we go from here?
So let's
can only go up, right?
Yeah, let's flip the cassette over, put it in, hit play, and we get All About Soul. Good pop tune. Good pop tune.
Better. And this is a song, again, whose single version is dramatically different. It has a whole different intro. It's like a completely different song. It was the second single off the album, and they played it live a little bit, and they turned it into something different. And then they kind of made a remix of that made it work. Yep. The hook at the time was that Color Me Bad singing backup vocals on it. But
yes! Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
It could have been any five guys. It didn't need to be Color Me Bad. You could say that's story of Color Me Bad's life, right? That's their biography. Could have been any five guys.
Could have been any five guys.
No, it's not true. They had to look good with their shirts off. But it's good. All About Soul is good. It's got a good chorus, and the remix brings out everything that's good about it. The bip, 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 that's not really... Yep. It's in the album mix, but it's buried under all the Korch's crap. And the single remix is fantastic. Breathes new life into the song.
And in the way his singing and the lyrics and everything were totally labored on the first side of the album, this one there's an earnestness.
It's just Blonde Over Blue again, which is not a terrible song, but it's just that, except it's working on every level.
Yep. So then we get
and it's like we've broken through the glass now. Now every song is pretty much good in some way, which is really nice.
Yeah. So now we get two great songs that taste great together. First one is Lullaby, Good Night, My Angel. Which if there hadn't already been, and so it goes. I always think this is that again, but more deliberately lullaby-ish, but it's lovely. It's great. And it's the first man and his piano. It's the piano man and his instrument telling us a story for the first time on this record. And it's like, you can breathe. It feels great when this song comes along. Yeah. And to me, it feels like I know everything is in order of what he wrote, but it sort of feels like he may have started working on River of Dreams and then thought, what if I'm putting, my daughter to sleep? And so then that leads into, and it sort of, because the two songs work so good together, this idea of, okay, it's time to sleep now. And then you go to sleep, and then your
dreams are kaleidoscopic and technicolor.
Correct. And you get the funky drums, and you get the and then
the big Sounds of Blackness backup vocals, and the big giant chorus, and the pre-chorus, the little pre-chorus, it's his last big pop hit, and rightfully so. It's a fantastic song for the era. And he's out of his era. This is very much a cluttered, ugly 90s sounding album, and he's just not a big cluttered 90s guy. And so this album's a throwback. This is like a 1985 single. And yet,
absolutely.
And yet it was like, with the few things that came out, like Steve Perry put a solo album out after 8 years. All these things that we got in the early 90s that were not grunge and that were not just acoustic ladies, that's all it was like these wonderful breaths of variety. And I really see River of Dreams as that title track and lead off single and maybe best song on the record, probably.
Yeah. Absolutely. We had grunge, and then we had
industrial
and really the rise of rap and the rise of rap's influence, and everybody kind of sampling and taking elements of rap and putting them into their songs. So River of Dreams was like, oh, isn't this a quaint, fun little thing here that someone?
But it was a quaint, fun little thing, and it was a big hit because people still wanted this to some degree, even though there wasn't room for a lot of it. It just wasn't.
Then we get the first of the Waving Goodbye songs. And that's 2,000 Years.
Fantastic song. On his live album that came out during the Millennium concert, this is the song he sings waiting for the countdown to start. And it's we always sing during the little hook that comes after the chorus. We always sing, "There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza," because that's what it sounds like. But it's being mean to this song, because this is a lovely little song about perspective and about kind of amazingness that we got here. And the lyric and the chorus is lovely, and the mandolins and stuff, like all of it is folksy and great. And so I really, really dig it.
Yeah, it's a good tune. It's lovely. Again, we get a nice sort of
hard to
swing.
know what it would be if it was on like Stormfront or something, but on this album, it's a highlight, no question.
Right. Absolutely, good point. And then we get Famous Last Words.
If this is the last song these are the last words I have to say.
Yep.
This is a swan song, literally.
Yeah, this is him going. I'm done. I'm done. My era is done now, and
so long, see ya. But it lives up to the responsibility of that idea. If this is the last thing I'm going to express in this format that has made me what I am or whatever, I'm going to try and make them count. So here's what I think, and I really, that's noble, and I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. Even if what he ultimately thinks is sort of pop song wisdom, what else do you expect from your pop rock artists? Honestly, it's like it's a great way to end a really haphazard and confusing and frustrating album.
Yep. But that is, so even though that is his last studio album, that is not the last we hear of Billy Joel. Nope. We mentioned that we get Greatest Hits Volume 3, and he treats us to 3 covers. Now, so we're not going to do any of the B-sides, some of the B-side stuff that came out. We're not.
Yeah, there were a lot of little bits and pieces and tributes and things. They weren't terribly significant, but a lot of different stuff came out. But real quickly, just say what these are, and then
so in 1997 we get To Make You Feel My Love, Bob Dylan, Hey Girl, and Lou Reed, and Light as a Breeze, which is Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen, yeah.
Leonard Cohen, yeah. And
Light as a Breeze had already been released, actually, 2 years before.
Yes, but they slapped it onto this Greatest Hits as well.
Because they said, we want new songs for greatest hits like the old one. And he's like, well, here's somebody else's songs. You can really tell he's done.
Yep.
Last words were it. And they were it for decades. These covers are fine, but they're mid-90s Korchmar-esque blues rock covers. They're not special. They're very faithful. There's no sense of Billy Joel there other than that he's singing them, and that's not good.
Absolutely.
So we did all three in one go.
Yep, that was awesome. But we do get he. And
it's okay to mention he really seriously worked at an entire album full of piano interludes that he had somebody else play.
Yeah, Richard Jew plays all of plays these, because he wrote songs that he literally couldn't play.
Yeah,
he wrote beyond his, as he says, he wrote beyond his ability.
I think he's not giving himself enough credit. I think that album would have a ton more personality if he'd played those songs himself. But there are immaculately played by one of the greatest pianists of our time, so I don't fault that. And it's a must-have album for any Billy Joel fan, but it's not a rock and roll record.
No,
so.
there are some lovely lovely moments. There's a couple lovely little tracks that they're showing his.
They're neat. We've heard it throughout his pop career, so they're not surprising that they're nice, but they're not. They don't rise to the level of classical music brilliance either. So what are they? It's a curiosity, unfortunately.
Right,
and only for diehard fans.
Correct. All right. So, and then finally we get in 2007, as he is getting ready to marry Katie Lee, I want to say her maiden name was, but she's now she's a chef. She's on Food Network and stuff now. But when he was getting ready to marry her, he writes a little sort of Frank Sinatra love song called "All
it's a very
My Life."
Sinatra album cover with the hat. He's wearing Sinatra's gangsta hat, basically.
Yep.
If you're going to come out of retirement and write a nice piano ballad, this is a good one, and it's not bad. It's just again, it's like all the other times when he was struggling as a writer. It's form over function, basically.
Yeah.
He's aping another idea from some other writer. He's doing a really good version of it on his own, and like I say, at least if he was going to give us one new studio recording over umpteen years, this one doesn't fall flat on its face. It's really, really nice, but
it does have the
Billy Joel
earnestness.
is pretty much gone for good.
Yeah, it doesn't have the. He sings it again with the earnestness that you get, because clearly he's in love and probably never thought he was going to love again. That's it.
We didn't quite make it, but I bet you we did better than I thought we were gonna
do. We didn't do too bad. I don't think we did too bad.
You guys don't come to us for music stuff. We don't do music stuff because you can see how hard it is to do. A matter of fact, in this case, I think the forum helped us because we just couldn't go on and on about songs that nobody, you or us, could listen to. But Billy Joel, I don't know why I thought of it, because in my iPod there's 120 Billy Joel songs, and I'm like, ooh, one for each minute of the podcast. And he meant something to me, and he meant a lot to Joel in particular. Growing up, that was an artist that, again, I think he said some goofy things, but when you listen to like what Clapton and Roger Waters are saying, I mean, it's way off Billy Joel. He's just a crabby old man. That's pretty much what he was when he was a young man. He didn't have to, but he stood up for what's her face the other day. I appreciated that. Yeah, he and he was her name. She's actually a big pop star, but Taylor Swift.
But and there were something that he said got misconstrued, and I must admit I thought it meant that he was endorsing our former president. And he came out and said, no, that's not what I was doing. I did not vote for him. I want nothing to do with him.
But he sang about people who did for ages, and he identifies with them more than I think he identifies with us. And I think it's easy to make him seem unpopular. I don't think as a New Yorker with all his working class pals and stuff that he saw that he saw the former presidents, getting elected as that big a surprise. And I think when you hear from a lot of people out east that get that in a way that it seemed unthinkable to a lot of people, certainly the press.
Yeah.
So, I've heard a lot of artists say that, yeah, they're not supporting, but anything they say that says, I get where this is coming from is construed as some sort of support.
Right. Yeah.
Dennis DeYoung got in trouble for it too. There's other artists out there who Jon Stewart got in trouble for it, of all people.
Yeah.
So even if he falls off, I don't think he's going to become Roger Waters. I think he's just lost his mind. But as an old rocker,
no,
he's as generous with his music as he can be. He takes it out on the road. He knows what it is to be a showman, and he gives you a good show every time and always has.
He has a standing
Elton John, Billy Joel mega tours that they went on. Elton even said at the end of the last one, he's like, he just hates doing this and he shouldn't do it. But I really don't think from the 25th row you could sense that. I think that's true, but I think he puts it out there as a showman and as an entertainer and as a writer. I think he shared a lot of personal stuff with us, and I think he writes an incredible, catchy pop rock tune. The proof's in the pudding.
Yep. How
many popular and amazing songs with incredible legacies and longevity did we just list?
Yeah.
Tons.
I believe I may have shared on here before. Jennifer and I were lucky enough to see, lucky is maybe not the right word, but we saw the Madison Square Garden concert with Elton John and Billy Joel the night before Billy Joel checked himself into rehab again. And it was a bonkers concert. It was after 9/11, and Billy was
out of sorts.
He was on sixes and sevens,
but still putting it out there somehow.
Tried.
He
tried.
Yeah.
There's a few that he didn't. Elton John totally saved the night, but it was wild. But it's a dude who's had he's had some demons. He's had huge successes. He's had highs and lows like everybody. And this is a guy who has a talent for writing this stuff down and putting it to music. So that's it. 120 Billy Joel songs in roughly 120 minutes. We came really close. I really thought we had built up enough early on that we were going to we're going to cruise into this. We're going to come in at 120 songs in 118 minutes.
Too many songs that need a minimum of 2 minutes to talk about, unfortunately.
Yep. So,
that's
all right.
Good. It's a feather in his cap.
Yep. You can reach out to us, of course, at The Movie Show with Joel and Ryan page on Facebook, at The Movie Show with Joel and Ryan on YouTube. If you are watching this, I hope that the video turned out okay. Lots of juddery Ryan on my end. The audio is good, but the video was kind of gunky, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm more
of a radio star than a video star anyway.
Yeah, and of course you can reach out to us TikTok and Instagram at Ask Joel and Ryan. Ask Joel and Ryan at gmail.com if you have a question. Let us know your thoughts on Billy Joel and why he's great.
And what your favorite song is. I'd really love just that. Favorite Billy Joel song in the comments section.
There you go. Boom. All right, everybody. That is going to do it for us. We will see you very soon, and hope you all are enjoying a good holiday season. Take care.
Thank you for listening to The Movie Show with Joel and Ryan. Remember, all views and opinions represented in this podcast are personal and belong solely to the speaker and do not represent those people, institutions, or organizations that the speaker may or may not be associated with, unless explicitly stated. None of these views and opinions were intended to malign or deceive. And now, here's the producers, circa 1982, to play us out.
Меня зовут Billy Joel.